got a new show coming out.
How come you didn't say filthy?
Well, I was going to get to that.
Oh.
I was going to get to that, and
Okay,
you stole my thunder.
I harshed your mellow. I'm sorry.
But we got a show coming out called Spartacus, the House of Ashur. And now, you guys may not know, but the original Spartacus series is in my top 5 all-time favorite series. I love that. And by the way, our own Erin Cummings was one of the stars. She was Spartacus's wife in that show. Well, now they're revisiting it and coming back, and they're doing House of Ashur. Now, for those of you who watched the original Spartacus show, they brought the filthy, all right? They didn't hold back on the violence and the sex and the gore and the nudity. They went, I mean, Spartacus was not only a great show, it was visceral. It meant to give us that visceral sense and that visceral feeling. So is House of Ashur going to follow up with that? Well, apparently Spartacus wasn't nothing compared to what they're doing. And they're saying he's really pushing. Now, this comes to us from Coming Soon. It says Spartacus, the spinoff, is to push the limits of TV sex and violence. And it goes on to write this. DeKnight noted that Stephen S. DeKnight, I'll read it from the other paragraph. At the Hollywood Reporter's inaugural Heat Vision live event, showrunner Stephen S. DeKnight, who did the original Spartacus and did season 1 of Daredevil on Netflix, by the way. He's great.
And not Travis Knight, Stephen S. DeKnight.
Yeah, Stephen S. DeKnight.
People get them confused so much.
And actor Nick E. Tarabay reflected on the creative risks behind Spartacus House of Ashur. DeKnight noted that he has yet to encounter a creative boundary involving sex or violence that he is unwilling to test. He credited both Starz and Lionsgate Television for supporting the show's more extreme moments. The showrunner cited one especially graphic sequence in the second episode, admitting he expected some network pushback. He said, "I was sure we were going to get a note about that. However," DeKnight clarified, "they received none. Nothing." For DeKnight, the harshness and hypersexuality depicted in the show reflect the historical setting of Rome. This time in ancient Rome was a brutal, brutal time and hypersexual, he said, adding that he is especially proud of the introduction of a female gladiator, expressing his gratitude. He said, "I'm very thankful to Lionsgate and Starz that I have not gotten a note that said, 'Whoa, can you pull it back?'" All right, now look.
But they didn't say pull it out. What?
Wow.
I'm not going to say what just went through my head. No, sir. So look. I'm on record of saying I don't like gratuitousness in a lot of stuff, but I've always been very clear about what my definition of gratuitous is. Gratuitous is when it's there and it doesn't serve any purpose. Like, oh, let's just show a guy getting his head chopped off. What did that do for the story? What did that do for what you're trying to accomplish? Or did you just put in there because it'll be cool to show somebody get their head cut off? That's gratuitous, right? And to me, that's wasteful. I include with that sex, nudity. But I love my filthy and stuff. And one of the great things about Spartacus was Stephen S. DeKnight utilized violence and sex and nudity as a part of pushing what the overall tone and feel of the show. The visceralness of those shows. They all contributed to that and pushed what that show was. And on that level, there's a lot of sex in that show, man. And on that level, I thought it really worked and part of what made the show so great. And I love the fact that he recognizes that's one of the things that worked with the original show. And by the way, lest you think, if you haven't seen the original Spartacus, oh, this is just a titty and stabby show. No. It was great characters and great story. It was wonderful with all these other visceral elements as well. So I kind of like hearing that he's still pursuing that he's pushing it even harder. And I love hearing that both Lionsgate and Starz were like, no notes. You go do it. Make your stuff. Now, as somebody who appreciates the filthy, bring on the filthy. It's at least worth bringing up the question, though, Rob. Where should the line be? Because Spartacus did a lot. And where should the line be with, sex and violence when it comes to television? Granted, this isn't going to be on CBS, But when it comes to that, should there be limits? Should there be, I don't know. What are your thoughts in the comments? What's standing out to you, and where do you think they should draw the line?
Well, for me, it's always been like having directed an HBO Cinemax show that was all about the filthy.
Which was?
Femme Fatales.
That's right.
Which is it should have been called Femmes Fatale, but I can't even get into that. But the thing is, for me, when you're telling a narrative story, when you stop adding to the narrative with a sex scene, I think that's too much. I think a sex scene and the way people are having sex should also add to the overall idea of what's happening. Like in Basic Instinct, there's some great sex scenes.
That's a great example.
But Basic Instinct, there's something else going on. Like, is Catherine Trammell really a murderer? And is she going to stab Michael Douglas? So you're watching this very hot, very choreographed, and Paul Verhoeven used to say that he would choreograph his sex scenes the way he choreographed action sequences. So they mean something. And like you said, the original Spartacus, yeah, look, it's titillating. We want it to be titillating, but it's also visceral. And if the characters, if you're conveying something about the characters, about the way they're having sex, if it's just a rando sex scene and it's kind of normal and whatever, okay. But if there's two characters working out their differences with one another in bed, well, then it can be really interesting and it can be titillating.
Can I give an example from the original Spartacus to your points, just to highlight it? So there's this scene in the original Spartacus series where Spartacus, who's of course a slave gladiator, he's brought in as a stallion to have sex with this high-ranking Roman woman. But it turns out the high-ranking Roman woman he's brought in to breed with happens to be the wife of one of the Roman higher-ups that Spartacus hates. And so when the sex scene is going on, it's like, you know what I liken it unto, Rob? One of my favorite scenes in all movies, the throne room, the Emperor throne room fight scene between Vader and Luke. And because I always say, as that fight is going on, story is being told.
Yes.
And I know it sounds weird to say, but when he's banging that Roman chick in the original Spartacus, it's that same kind of feeling. Like story is actually unfolding here.
And I think that's the best way to include sex in narrative, because otherwise the narrative stops. And to be honest, then sex scenes become boring, because the way characters are having sex should have a story element to them that makes them more titillating, and it also carries the narrative forward. So you're not just stopping and watching fornication. That's no fun. I mean, it is fun
to a degree, but but for filmmaking and television and stuff like that, it doesn't contribute.
And that's the question. Does this sex scene push the narrative further in some way? And if the answer is yes, then good. Take it and by the way, push it as far as you can. I got in a little trouble because I wanted to push things too far in a show that was about sex. And they're like, you can't do that. And I'm like, well, okay. It was just insinuating something, not showing.
Well,
it.
apparently nobody at Lionsgate or Spartacus said that to Stephen S. tonight.
I love it.
So, I'm looking forward to this, but whatever, I'm 12. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Aura. Guys, if you are anything like me, you swear every year you're going to be on top of your Christmas shopping, and then suddenly it's December 20th, the shelves are empty, and you're standing around in Target asking yourself, does my aunt even like candles? But this year, I am not doing that because of Aura Frames. It's completely saved me. See, I always struggled with what to get people in my life, but this year I'm going to give out a couple of Aura Frames, and it's hands down the most personal, meaningful gift that I can possibly give. And here's the best part. Aura lets you upload unlimited photos and videos. Plus, the frame comes in a premium gift box with no price tag, so it feels like a classy, well thought out gift, even if you bought it last minute. Guys, you can't gift wrap togetherness, but you can frame it. So for a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames named #1 by Wirecutter by using promo code CAMPEA at the checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code Campea. This deal is exclusive to our listeners and frames sell out fast. So order yours now to get it in on time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning that we sent you at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Okay, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Stephen S. tonight is saying there's no limits he's not willing to test out when it comes to sex and violence. And Lionsgate and Stars were like, yeah, go for it. should there be a line? Maybe there should, maybe there shouldn't. Where do you draw them? When does something go just from being visceral to just simply gratuitous? I don't know. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.